Hey there. So today I'm going to release a small little resource that we found tremendously helpful in streamlining the entire process from getting to your first idea or from when you have a concept for an A/B test to a design to also then handing it off to development and making this entire process like very simple for designers and basically everybody who's involved as easy as possible. So what we did is we created a simple, like fairly simple Figma file that helps you in this process. And I'm going to go through the file today, show you quickly a couple of features that it has, a few pages that it's comprised of, and yeah, how you can basically use this to streamline your process from idea to execution, and yeah, also make the developer's life a little bit easier. All right, so the first thing that I'm going to show you right now is we have this Figma file. You'll be able to just clone the file and then get going. Obviously, here in the file, we have a little bit of our own style guideline in regard to these like components. And you might actually, in case you do not have the Geist font installed, just have to change it to a font that works for you. But in our case, this is just what we use to make it also a bit on brand. And there are a few things about this file that are a bit special, and one of them being that we make use of the so-called local variables within Figma, so we don't have to type out things that just keep repeating throughout the pages and just save a bit of time. So there are basically for now three variables that we used. One experiment ID, and that's basically, I also I think wrote it down in here, the ID that references your experiment in your entire experiment documentation. And yeah, you'd usually use like three letters to identify your company, or at least that's what we do with our clients. So we know exactly when we see the experiment ID what client we're talking about. You may be doing this for teams, for product domains. So if maybe for checkout, you have a specific domain and you say, okay, we do CHE for checkout, or something like that. That's totally up to you. And then obviously a continuous rolling ID. Then experiment name. This is basically quickly in a few words as possible, describing what the experiment is about. In this case, it is changed the header bar to 2 rows. Wherever I came up with that idea, I have no idea, but basically just to show you what it's supposed to be, and then in one sentence describing the change you want to test. This is not yet the hypothesis, but this is just basically one change that you want to make, or the change that you want to make within your experiment. If we can actually quickly show you what happens if we change this to 1. So we just changed the ID to 1. So wherever we actually here in experiment design, wherever we use this designation, this reference ID, it is going to be changed. Same obviously here with the title and subtitle. Let's change that back to 0. Actually, you know what? Let's leave it at 1. That's fine. And let's go over to the next card. Actually, one thing I should mention before that is that this card, you might see this little icon here before experiment overview, which is the title of this frame. This is going to be the basically the thumbnail of your Figma document. So what you can do is you can go and restore the original thumbnail. Then you will have just automatically generated one by Figma, or you set this as a thumbnail, which just makes this, if you have a folder or project within Figma, very easy to just have a nice nice frame for, or like nicely presented file structure. Yeah, so next one here in experiment overview, actually I should change this to hypothesis card. Just realized. This is where you just, to have this also part of the file, quickly type in your hypothesis. So you can use whatever format you want. In this case, we just did the if then because. So you basically quickly describe your change, the metrics that you expect to move, that you will measure, um, and the underlying belief. This could be of psychological nature or maybe something else that you use as an indication of why you want to test this. Then we have, obviously, before we get to all of this, you should start with an insight. And if you have insights of visual nature that you might want to also give to your designers, then just place them in here. Maybe it's just a link, and I added a little note here. Maybe it's a heat map that you want to show so they don't have to switch tools or whatever. So they get a little more insight into and clarity into why they should design the experiment, and yeah, why they are making the change in the first place. Then inspiration and mood. This is something important for designers. So there's usually this board is full of either competitor sites or of features that you have somewhere else in the product or something that just will inspire you, or that yeah, you can use this as a mood board just to get the juices flowing when it comes to designing, right? And then the core of this entire thing, obviously, is creating designs. So what I did here is we just have basically a little overview and structure to this entire document. So usually when we do an experiment for clients, or when clients build these kind of experiments, or experiments in general, there's usually a desktop and a mobile version. Obviously, if you're just doing mobile, get rid of the desktop version and just design a mobile. But for the sake of this template, we just try to do it as fully fledged as possible in this case. And you can usually from your core design file, you can just copy in your control here, which is basically the version that has no changes at all, and then you start modifying things for your variation here. In case you're not using Figma to have your entire design landscape mapped out, you might just take a screenshot and put it here into control, and then start modifying that screenshot in some way, or rebuilding the parts that you want to modify here in variation. Sometimes this is just a way quicker way to go about things. And yeah, obviously, if you need help with any of this, don't hesitate to reach out. I might point you to resources we have available, or yeah, we might be able to work together. But then, assuming you have all of that figured out, so you have your control desktop, control mobile, variation desktop, and also mobile, then you can just go ahead and export them, usually as PNGs, and hand them off to your developer. Now, the point why this might not be the way to go is that developers like to use the functionality that Figma supplies. So depending on also your structure, you might be able to make use of this new dev mode, or at least newly fully released dev mode that developers you can then use to prep your designs for developers for easier handover, right? We're not doing that right now, but if you don't have that available, or if your developers don't have licenses in Figma, what you can still do is say you have something in here, and you want them to basically get the info. Then you can just give them all the information here, maybe write it out, or just give them actually access to the Figma link here. Through, I think it's anyone with a link, and yeah, so anyone with a link can view it, and they can just inspect it themselves. That should also be doing the job. But we will be soon releasing a full guide on how to do a development handover for A/B experiments, and yeah, hopefully this then also helps. So just to recoup this entire process once again, it's set up. Where you just take a minute, fill out the things. Don't forget to do the things in the variables, otherwise it's going to be overwritten. So for the experiment ID, name, and description, then into insights, just copy the insights, relevant insights, obviously, to this board, to this page. then go into inspiration, moods, experiment design, and crank out the proper design for your experiment. And don't forget to do the developer handover, so they have all the information available they need to develop the experiment. One last thing, there's a component section which is basically just for these sections to be easily duplicatable. But yeah, you don't need to worry about that. And yeah, that's all. I hope this resource helps you lots, and I'm gonna leave a link down in the description below for you to download that resource and easily copy it. All right. With that being said, I hope you've had have great fun with this, and yeah, talk soon.